Peace, love and light to you all, family. Welcome to another YouTube video with me, your host, Mathix Mahlawira. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a super drug called dopamine, which is released by your brain. Now, I'm calling it a drug for a reason because to some extent we are all addicted to this. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and to subscribe to the channel. Also, share it so that more people can find it. Also press that notification button so that you can get automatically notified when I make more videos in future. Now that we're done with that, let's get into the juice. Let's get into the juicy part. So now, what is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It is a hormone-like chemical that is released by your brain. But unlike hormones, which the messages pass through the blood, the dopamine passes through the nervous system, So I'm going to talk about it in fact, there's no talking about it in a physical and a spiritual way. It's just what it is. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that the body is a technology. It is biological technology. It is intelligence. Your body is a result of an evolution of trillions of years of the divine mind of God in involving itself to participate in matter, or to participate in density, in physicality, through stages of involution and then evolution. Now, in that involution, which now we are participating in the evolutionary part of the experience of God in physicality, we are now inhabiting what we call the human stage or the human body. So right now we are incarnated as spiritual beings, as divine sparks, in this entity, in this body, in this vehicle. This is the vessel. This is an avatar which your spirit or your soul is using. Your soul is using your body to tap into this dimension. Remember that you have different bodies. You have a body, you have a dream body. When you go to sleep at night, you tap into a dream, you tap into a different body, which does not conform to the laws of time and space. That's why you can move about so easily. You can fly, you can do this. And then you have an astral body, which can move into the stars, and you could fly, you could see yourself project. You have different types of bodies, 7 bodies to be specific, and even more, but 7 ones that we can identify with. So you have your physical, your ethereal, your astral, your mental, your casual, your soul body. So there's many bodies. So the difference is that in these bodies, what happens is the density, the lower that God comes into physicality, God being the divine mind, being consciousness, what happens is that the density, the heaviness increases. And with the heaviness increasing, it basically becomes even more complex. So it becomes more complex in a sense that now here, there's all of this. There's so many, the variation. If you look at things in nature, there's birds, there's insects of different kinds, dolphins, mammals, reptiles. All of these are expressions of one thing, of one mind, one consciousness manifesting itself in those different manifestations, in those different thought projections, which you see as the animals, humans, dolphins, whatever it is. So now we're going to look at the human part. Now, with the animals, we share different neuro and nervous, or basically hormones. We share that with certain species. For an example, dogs also have this dopamine thing. So what dopamine is associated with is pleasure. It's basically a pleasure hormone. It is released every time you do something that is enjoyable. Let's say, for an example, you kiss somebody and then there's that pleasure. Your brain releases dopamine. When you are sipping that glass of wine, your brain releases dopamine. When you are having that sex, your brain releases dopamine. So when you are doing certain things, your brain releases that. Now, it is also associated with the reward. So it's basically, it gets released. Let's say you're hungry, right? Or you're thirsty. Let's say you've been working all day and you're thirsty, and you're just feeling like, oh man, that glass of Coca-Cola would slap. And then you have it, and then you slap, and then there's that, that's that dopamine. That's that dopamine. Now, dopamine is not a bad thing, but it can become bad because don't forget what I spoke about, that this is the beastly body right now. And it's a beast because of what? Its makeup, its carbon nature makeup. This is the carbon beast. This is a carbon body, a carbon-based body, which means that you are dealing with the beast, the 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. You are a carbon-based being. Physical, dense, matter, black, darkness, melanin. This is it. This is the intelligence of God involved, or God slowed down. Now, what happens is that in this slowing down, you get trapped by what they call the matrix. The matrix is actually just the physical brain, because the brain, if you look at it, it is divided into 2 parts. There's the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere, right? So these hemispheres deal with 2 different things. So your brain releases different hormones. Now, dopamine, I called it a drug in a sense that when you do certain things continuously, your body always wants that. It wants that next thing. It wants that next hit. It's like when you're watching an anime or a series or whatever. When you're like, let me watch the next episode, that's dopamine. And then you finish that episode, and then the next episode, that's dopamine. Because what dopamine does is that it rises, and then it peaks, and then it falls. So let's say that you are anxious to do something. The dopamine level rises. And then the moment that you start doing that thing, it peaks. And then as you're about to finish, it drops again. And then what happens after a while, you want that thing again, it peaks. So it is most dangerous or rather it is more addictive when it is at the peaking part, or when it is rising. Let's say you're hungry, right? You want to have a snack. Most people won't go for a healthy snack. They want like a burger or something like that, because the smell and all of that is just like, that one would slap. So when let's say you pass by a burger place and you smell it even peaks more. It rises. And the moment you walk into that store and you order it, it starts to peak. The moment you are enjoying that burger, like now you are at the apex of it, like, you are just there, man, it feels so good. And then boom, you're done, you're full. The dopamine drops. But then it's dangerous because it's going to rise again. So this is why most people, when it comes to drugs, they're so addicted, and why they can't let go. It's not that it's the drugs. What's most addictive is the release, because some of these substances cause a huge release of dopamine in the brain. So they release more dopamine than is natural. So that's why people always want that. It's for that next hit again. It's not the drug that's doing that. It's what they trigger that is already natural in you. This is already in you. That's why it's so addictive, because it is in you. You see, so how you deal with this is, first of all, you have to understand what you are in and what you are, and you have to start disciplining yourself. That's the cure to this. That's the cure to something that doesn't even need a cure. It just needs you to be in control of your body. So what you do is you discipline yourself. That's why you always want that next thing. That glass of wine. Another glass of wine. Man. And when you meet people, addiction to porn. Just that, just watching that. It releases dopamine. Cheating. Dopamine. The thrill. The idea of, someone. It's all dopamine. It's all dopamine. Why do you think, I'll give you an example with guys, right? A guy could want the most amazing girl in the world, man, and actually get her. And sometimes it depends on your state as a being, as a spirit. Because some people, it doesn't even apex, it doesn't reach the climax, they can control it if you are spiritually in tune. That's when you are in the moment. So when you are eating that burger, or when you are having that sexual exchange, it won't peak and decline. You can keep it constantly, you see, but then you need to be very highly vibrational and self-aware, and then be dealing with yourself from those higher levels. Then you are now, you are the master of the body. But 90% of the majority, they've not tapped into being in the now. So they always want the next thing. So when they have what they've been looking for already, it stops, declines, and then they want it again after a certain while. So let's say that most guys, let's say, or even women, whatever, it's not even specific to gender. There's someone who you are looking for. It's like, oh, if I could just get them, if I could just get them. Most of the time, what happens? I'm just gonna use a guy for an example. He wants a girl. He's been looking years, months, days. The girl finally agrees. They go on a date. Oh, it's nice. In his mind, it's rising, because he knows what he's looking for. Eventually he wants to get in the pants, and once he does, what happens most of the time? He's uninterested anymore, because he's reached the climax. He's like, the dopamine, when he's busting that nut, that's the dopamine hitting that spot, and then it declines, and then he's like, get off me. He doesn't want to cuddle. He doesn't. Why? Because he's reached that state. You see, so it's all about now learning how to discipline yourself and understanding how to really enjoy things in the now. This is also why most relationships fail, because they are dopamine based. They're dopamine based. When it should always be, and then it goes up. So it shouldn't be a thing of even if you do have problems in the relationship, that's normal. That's all relationships. I'm talking about those levels where you understand self, your partner understands self, then you understand that now you are dealing with a different level of what your brain is able to release to you. You see, so in a nutshell, dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It is a pleasure hormone that you need to control, or else it will control you. I don't care what your addictions are. There's many things. You know what you like. That sometimes you're like, I gotta stop this. That's dopamine being released. That's your body. That's your brain being, I want it again. 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 Yeah, I want it again. That's that dopamine. So the way in which you discipline that, or the way in which you bring that into order, is you discipline. Because remember, the whole thing about being incarnated in the physical body is to learn how to discipline this vast library, this vast storage field of cosmic forces and energies. Chakras are forces. Crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar, sacral, root. These are forces, gods, that you must discipline so that you rise above them, or else they control you. You must rise above this beastly, this cosmic supercomputer, and then you must be in control of it, or else it controls you. And most people, we are being controlled by dopamine. We're being controlled by dopamine. So when you watch your series, like sometimes watch one episode, but sometimes see yourself when you want to watch, like when you binge watch things. Sometimes it's that dopamine. Even information, even spiritual information can be addictive, because when you're getting it, it's like, what? It's making sense. This right now, you could want to watch another video of mine, but it makes sense. Let me watch something else. Sometimes you gotta watch it, take it in, process it, sit with it for a day or two, and then come back, you watch something else, but if you that's that dopamine. It's many things that can release this. So it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because it makes life fun. It makes life, it's what gives the pleasures of life. And you came here for pleasure, but pleasure can become a trap. Pleasure, you can be trapped in pleasure. So you have to know this is what gurus and shamans were doing. It's like to discipline the body and say, hey, bruh, no, relax, man. I know the sex is nice. I know that it'll continue to be nice. It's not like it's gonna change. Let's just chill on that. Hey man, relax. I know this food is nice, so let's eat healthy. It's not like it's gonna stop being. Let me just, you see, because your brain can trick you into doing bad things and then give you excuses as to why those things are not bad for you, because it wants those huge amounts of dopamine. Fast food releases greater dopamine, let's just say, than healthier food. Why do you think people are addicted to junk food? Once you start doing certain heavy drugs, they release huge amounts of it. You see, so the reason why some people it's hard for them to get off certain substances is dopamine. They're addicted to that high release of this neurotransmitter. You see, so discipline. You gotta be able to learn how to discipline yourself. That's what it is. Discipline. So, peace, love, and light to you all, family. Much love to you. Remember that you are a super being. You are a super being. Sometimes there's things about yourself that you don't know. So it's very good to research everything that you see on my channel, that you see on other people's channel. Research it. Do research. Read books. Come on, man. Come on. Don't just believe everything you hear. Read up. Dopamine, what's that? Then go look it up on the side. Don't just take everything I say here. Come on. Research. You gotta step out of the comfort zone. You gotta stop wanting to be fed information like a baby. Take it in and then be like, oh, damn. And then go look up more about it. Get a 360 perspective. Don't just get my perspective. Go get a 360 perspective. So yeah, family. Peace, love, and light to you all. Much love. Ha. Where's that glass of wine?